So Michael and I did a film called Pig together. We had a pig for like 4 days on the movie. It really wasn't that much. When we finished that, and it was sort of like the exhale after you kind of really finish a film, and he was like, wow, yeah, no more animals. That was a headache, huh?
I mean, the pig did an incredible job in that movie, but I was like, I'm not doing another movie with an animal. Like, it's a whole other headache of things. Like, it's an amazing discovery process, but it's also like, oh boy, it's a lot.
And then so, day one, this film, when he first sends me the script, I'm like, this is beautiful, but why is there a cat in every scene, Michael?
And I really didn't want it to be a CG cat.
And so that creates a lot of challenges, especially in a film like what we're doing.
Joe and Kim were these extremely talented animal trainers who were working with Schnitzel and Nico. Those were the two cats that we had playing Frodo.
We knew there's no way we could do this film with one cat alone. So we knew to get a close match, we would have to colour Nico. There's no way we would find a cat with exactly the same markings. So we had Nico, and we have an extremely clever colorist to color him. And now most people find it tricky to tell the difference between the two of them. For this film, it's quite intense, and there is a lot for the cats to do. So we had 3 months full training for both of them. They both have their specialities, and they complement each other as a team great.
52 Vegas, hit one. Action.
Nico was better for kind of the long movements, like if we needed, a cat running along the street.
Nico walks better on the lead. Schnitzel is the better stayer.
Schnitzel was better for like the little trick moments, like if we needed a cat pawing at the door or giving a little look.
A bus pulling into the frame next to the cat was really difficult because the air brakes would go off, and really, cat didn't like the air brakes. But stuffing Nico into a viola case, sailing down a flooded subway with like waves and darkness, and he was like chilling. It was fine.
We have done, I think, like 41, 42 days filming, and the cat has done literally every single day. So we have had a lot of stuff, mostly outside, so that's challenging with a cat. I really like the fact that Frodo is the catalyst for bringing Eric to Samira.
Animals are great judges of character, aren't they? So I think the fact that Frodo warms to Eric probably informs Sam's opinion as well. It's very interesting because in many ways Sam is a very unlikable character. This kind of futile, what's worth saving kind of outlook that she has. So I think having a cat to cuddle makes us like her a bit more.
Eric, do you have family here?
Why?
Don't you have anywhere you can go?
No.
Joe sent in an audition tape that had just all the kind of sensitivity and warmth and sadness that was really important for Eric. He's kind of traumatized in his own way, but then he also has this kind of wisdom and deep kindness to him. And Joe just kind of has a lot of that very authentically, but he's so talented and so on point with everything he does. And he's just one of those actors that you can say, like, I just needed a little more of this. And he's like, yep, I know exactly what you mean. I got it.
Joseph Quinn was the kind of actor who would step all the way in. He would make bold choices, he would throw strong balls, and you just have to be very, very present to receive and throw back.
We built the backlot set, but there are some elements that we did film in central London. There's in the kind of financial district in London called Canary Wharf, where we filmed some scenes as kind of East Midtown. We managed to close it down for 2 days in a row, and we put all of our kind of burnt, kind of twisted, mangled cars in the streets, and fire trucks and fire hydrants kind of spewing water everywhere.
The creature's turning its head towards you. The creature runs away.
When you're trying to get a whole crew to like get behind, hey, like point the camera here, there's a monster, trust me. It takes a lot of imagination on everyone's part, but it's kind of fun too to also have talented people from ILM standing there being like, yeah, that's awesome, we'll make it look really cool. You just have to kind of trust them.
Michael is just very much into the details, and it's just amazing to see how much he can keep in his head, but he's very, very good at having a clear idea about what he wants to do, but then through discussions and anything that you're sort of chatting with, He's happy to sort of change, sometimes to do with what's practically possible, but also just likes to hear what other people are thinking. On the day, we're sort of framing up, and so right at the beginning, we're sort of always talking about what we're doing. Pat's very talented and is producing some very beautiful images, which makes our jobs way easier in post. But also, Michael, he did some of his own post work in his last film himself, and so it's interesting to watch him really care about the visual effects process, care about, like, is this the right way of shooting something?
You know, the irony of making these films is that the thing that is scariest to the audience is the most comedic thing to the actors.
Creature!
We were running from monsters that were invisible, obviously. Michael did manage to get like a guy on like these stilts to stand in for the monsters for some of the shots, and I remember the first time I saw it, I was just like, that is really funny. So you do have to do a whole lot of work in your mind to access the gravitas of the moment.
And action.
We've got a location that we're bringing Samira and Eric and little Frodo down some stairs into the subway, and then they round a corner, and then we bring them onto the set in the studio here. They're faced with this subway train that's kind of crashed up onto the platform. The whole area where the train should be running is actually flooded. We've built a kind of a long section of tunnel here with a ceiling piece. But this ceiling piece is on kind of computer-controlled rigs so that we can kind of adjust the ceiling up and down. So it gives the impression, as it goes lower and lower, it gives the impression that actually the water is getting higher and higher. I love making horror movies, and I know how difficult they are to create, kind of behind the scenes. But creating the environment for our characters and taking the audience with us into these spaces is so much fun.